able to hear you. Yeah, please do pin the.
Can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? Okay, I go back to work.
Namaste and a very happy Dashera to all of you. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and joining with us today. It gives me immense happiness to welcome all of you to the SMaRT First National Media Fest. I'm Meena Vishwanath. I'm the program manager at SMaRT. So without any delay, let's start off the event. So SMaRT is a passionate organization which brings in the nationalist voices together. We have composed an anthem in order to keep our dharmic warriors' spirits high and develop the feeling of oneness. So now we present you all the SMaRT anthem on your screens.
स्मार्ट का पद वीर पद देश का पद जीत पद प्रश्नों की तार से स्मार्ट का पद सजा अन्याय को ना करके न्याय का प्रचार कर देश पर प्रहार है हार मत प्रहार कर आज कर आवाज कर तांडव सा युद्ध कर, स्मार्ट का प्रचार कर। स्मार्ट हमरारा, स्मार्ट हमरारा, स्मार्ट हमरारा, स्मार्ट हमरारा, स्मार्ट हमरारा, स्मार्ट हमरारा।
All nationalistic media join SMaRT and make nation strong.
Yeah, so that was a SMaRT anthem. So we all know that lighting of lamps are part of our culture. Deepam signifies knowledge, and all our activities should be governed by the light of knowledge. So especially the knowledge of dharma. With this knowledge of dharma, ignorance and darkness will be expelled. So the format on how we light the deepam due to COVID can change, but its significance will remain for eternity. So to bring in an auspicious beginning, let's do the lightning of lamps in our screen now. So now I invite our founder and chairman, Shri Jaikishan Jawarji, to give away the inaugural. Over to you.
Namaste and Dashara greetings to all. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the first Nationalist Media Festival, which also coincides with the first anniversary celebrations of SMaRT Association for Research and Training. The year 2020 will be always remembered for the Chinese virus pandemic. As the pandemic raged across the world, it brought in disruption for each one of us and also to our Desh and Dharma. This difficult period also presented an opportunity for many of us to introspect our lives and rediscover the purpose in life. Personally, I always had a long bucket list of things to do, and many of these things did not see the light of the day for one reason or the other, and that surfaced up in this contemplative period. Although many of these ideas were seeding in rapid pace, after an honest brainstorming with my friends and well-wishers, these specific ideas were selected and conceived as new initiatives. These initiatives are, first, it's the Resilient Bharat Itihas. This project is about producing a series of films that are representation of Bharat's Itihas, thereby bring to light carefully chosen, unsung and unknown heroes from the past 1,000 years. The second initiative is Justice for Bharat, a free legal aid service for those who fight for national and Indic heritage and culture. And the third one is SMaRT Association for Research and Training, in short, SMaRT. SMaRT was formally launched on the Vijayadashmi Day last year. Within a short span of 1 year, SMaRT is a vibrant group of 100+ media partners with cumulative web traffic and social media reach of over 90 million plus. This was possible due to the dedication and dynamic leadership of Shri Muthuji, Shri Raju Venkatramanji, Shri Sandeep Singh Ji, and Shri Vishnuvardhanji. SMaRT incorporates different modes of mass communication, which is online, journals, print media, TV channels, YouTube, Indic knowledge providers, and others. The new generation of media organizations have exposed the unfortunate shallowness and biased disdain of mainstream media for Bharat's majority, their culture, and their values. Today, the nationalistic voice in Bharat's media world is still in its infant stage. Many portals and YouTube channels voicing nationalistic opinion are small in number. Further, they work in isolation and important issues picked up by these portals gets lost due to lack of reach and frequency. And most importantly, these portals can't sustain themselves for a long due due to financial stress. As a result, work published by them gets lost and in turn greatly harms the larger cause. Addressing the above mentioned points and more, SMaRT decided to be a Yojaka platform between different media partners that are focused on promoting nationalistic cause. SMaRT is nurturing and supporting its members through various initiatives that can help them improve quality of their content, widen its reach, and help them achieve financial sustainability. These support initiatives include research grants, translation services, legal support, multimedia facilities for generating high quality content, startup funding, advertisement support, and more. I am proud to share that SMaRT has progressed in all fronts and many new programs are in pipeline. Many young entrepreneurs start nationalistic media portals and YouTube channels with much enthusiasm, but very few have been able to scale them up and grow to become a strong voice, mostly for want of resources, support, mentorship, and guidance. Media startups with requisite scale-up potential are being actively identified so as to nurture them to become fully grown media ventures. There has been logical flow of initiatives by SMaRT based on learnings gained along with member organization. Few of our members have come forward to extend studio facilities to other resource-constrained members in Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, and Delhi without any charge. More such partnership among members will happen in near future. SMaRT is not an industry association, nor does it attempt to influence editorial policies of any of its members. It is a voluntary coalition of nationalistic media organizations to act as a force multiplier and espouse common agenda of national importance. Late Shri Sitaramji Goyal and late Shri Ram Swarupji Agarwal have done great service to Bharat Mata through their path-breaking research works and writings. It is our duty to make their eye-opening research work available to all Bharatiyas. As part of the centenary birth anniversary celebrations of Shri Sitaramji Goyal and Shri Ram Swarupji Agarwal, SMaRT is providing grants for translating the books of these legendary writers into Bharatiya languages. Grants approved for translation in Marathi, Gujarati, and Tamil languages. There would be more focus during the coming year as part of the centenary birth anniversary celebration of Shri Sitaramji Goyal and Shri Ram Swarupji Agarwal. I would like to conclude by thanking each one of you. Your support has been highly valuable, and SMaRT's success is an indication of faith you have bestowed upon this idea of strengthening nationalist media voice of serving Desh and Dharma. The invaluable support we have received from our founders, donors, advisors, jury members, friends of SMaRT, media organization has enabled us to grow together as SMaRT family. Once again, I wish you a happy Vijayadashmi. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Shri Jaikishan Javalji. Now I invite our director, Shri Sandeep Singh ji, to share a few words on the Smart National Media Fest. Over to you, sir.
Namaste. I welcome you all on behalf of SMaRT to celebrate the first anniversary of its launch. SMaRT was conceived and launched during the pandemic. We at SMaRT were hopeful that we will meet all the SMaRT members, friends, juries, advisors, and well-wishers at the first anniversary celebration. But again, due to pandemic, it wasn't possible. We are hopeful that we will get to meet all of you physically very soon. Every adversity throws some opportunity. The limitation in physical meeting gave birth to first Smart Nationalist Media Fest spread over 3 days, that is from 15th to 17th October 2021, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., which will be online. In an era of online seminars, another seminar that too spread over 3 days can make few friends raise eyebrows. But the seminar is not just another seminar. The speakers are indeed stalwarts, but what is important to note is the mix of speakers. There are stalwarts, at the same time, there are new and young speakers also, but each one backed with a credible body of work. SMART will give space to new talent and establish them. We are delighted by the support extended by SMART members and jury. Each of them is a stalwart in his or her own right. And for SMART, they have extended their full cooperation by willing to moderate different sessions. The topics selected are of immediate importance to Desh and Dharma. As mentioned earlier, the seminar is spread over 3 days, starting from today, that is 15th October 2021, till 17th October 2021. The event will start every day at 4 p.m., with the plenary session followed by two breakout sessions, which will be live simultaneously from 5 p.m. Following are the event details. 15th October, that is today, the first plenary session is from 4:15 to 5 p.m. Topic is what should media and citizens do to expose Breaking Bharat forces within and outside Bharat. Speaker is a stalwart who needs no introduction, that's one and only Shri Rajiv Malhotra. The session is moderated by Sanghi who never went to Shakha, that is Shri Rahul Roshan from Open India and a SMaRT member. It will be followed by two breakout sessions. Topic for the first breakout session is how to reform education system to create innovator entrepreneurs, ethical leaders. Speakers in the session are Sri Sushil D. Salwan, practicing lawyer at Supreme Court of India and Chairman Salwan Education Trust, and Srimati Shahana Singh, author of the book Revisiting the Educational Heritage of India. Session is being moderated by Shri Karthik Gopinath of Ilya Bharatam and a SMaRT member. Second breakout session topic is threat and consequence of changing demographics. What can we do? Speakers are Dr. J.K. Bajaj, Director, Center for Policy Studies, and Shri Mayank Jain, acclaimed filmmaker. Session is being moderated by Shri Surendranath from Indic Academy and a SMaRT member. Second day, that is on 16th October, the plenary session starts at 4 p.m. Topic is inherent bias in films and serials. Who are these people and how to stop? Speakers are Professor Dheeraj Sharma, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Rohtak, and Srimati Swati Goel Sharma, Founder, Gems of Bollywood. Topic of first breakout session at 5 p.m. is what can India do to save Hindus globally and specifically in neighboring countries by Dr. Omendra Ratnu, founder Nimittakam. Session is being moderated by Shri Surajit Das Gupta, founder Sirf News and a SMaRT member. Topic of second breakout session is how to globalize Indian culture for creating global impact. Speakers are Shri Hari Kiran, founder Indic Academy, and Shri Amish Tripathi, diplomat and author. Session is being moderated by Shri Ratan Sharda, author, columnist, and a SMaRT jury member. Third and final day, that is 17th October, topic of plenary session at 4 p.m. is Agenda versus Facts, Gaining Freedom from Fake News. Speaker is Shri Anurag Saxena, founder, India Pride Project and Data Reveals. Session is being moderated by Shri Vijay Chhada, author, columnist, and a SMaRT jury. All the sessions are live, and SMaRT and sponsors of the event are not responsible for the views expressed by the esteemed panelists and moderators. The last session will be the most awaited session by SMaRT members, and the session is SMaRT Awards. Finally, with SMaRT Award, national media will have its own award, devoid of any bias and judgment, a fully transparent award. SMaRT Awards will be live from 5 p.m. There will be 6 categories of awards, which are first, maximum research grant; second, award for maximum amplification; third, getting banned on social media; fourth, best investigative story; fifth, Shri Sitaram Goel Shaking the Establishment Award; sixth, Shri Ram Swaroop Media Person of the Year Award. Look forward to see you all on all 3 days in all the sessions. Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. As rightly stated by Sandeep ji in his speech, the mentioned topics are the most important ones, which must be spoken widely for the benefit of our country and Dharma. SMaRT has curated these topics based on the need of such discussion. We request all of us to take part in all the 3-day event, speak about it, and spread the word. Most importantly, get to know the award winners of this year on the last day. So let's start off the session with the first session for the day. What should media and citizens do to expose breaking Bharat forces within and outside Bharat? So our first speaker for the day is Shri Rajiv Malhotra ji, and the session will be moderated by Shri Rahul Roshan ji. Rajiv ji doesn't need an introduction, but still he's the founder of Infinity Foundation, and sir was also the one of the board of governors of the Center for Indic Studies at the University of Massachusetts, and is a senior advisor to the Indian think tank Defense Research and Studies. His key interest of Rajiv ji has been to interpret the Dharma for our times, a need he considers vital given the sweeping changes and challenges that we face. His trailblazing work spans key areas including Indian mind sciences, studies on comparative religions, Sanskritizing English, creation of new vocabulary for the dharmically minded people. So the session will be moderated by Shri Rahul Roshan ji. He's an entrepreneur, the author of Sangi Who Never Went to a Shaka and CEO of Op India. So we'll over to you, Shri Rajiv Malhotra ji.
Namaste, everyone. I'm delighted that my friend J.K. Jhavar has called this gathering, and he's organized this amazing network of so many like-minded media groups and think tanks and activists. It's about time we did this, and I would like to lend my support. He's invited me to give this keynote address to explain the big picture of what we face. So now we all know that we face what is called atrocity literature, which is an old term repurposed for today. I read this term, it applied to Americans 200, 300 years ago when they were writing about the atrocities of Native Americans and Mexicans, and that was a way to invade them and justify why these are no good people, and invading them to civilize them would be for their own better progress, for their own women, for the people that they are abusing. So this atrocity literature was a way to sort of show the inferior society of other people in order to either convert them or invade them, take their lands away from them. This is how atrocity literature, the term, came about. And about 30 years ago, I repurposed it for discussing atrocity literature against Hindus, against us. So it's not a new term, but applied to a new situation. So we react when we face what we've called Hinduphobia, which is also an old term repurposed for what is happening in today's media, which didn't exist 100 years ago, what is happening in today's academics, which didn't exist 100 years ago, what are the lenses that did not exist earlier. The lenses we're dealing with today, which are being applied, didn't exist. So the purpose of my talk is to explain how the atrocity literature is being done today, and where is it headed in the future, and what must we do about it, and what is our state of affairs in dealing with this. I mean, we know the other side is advancing. The lens that they're using is not static. It's always changing, developing new things. Are we also changing? That's the point I want to discuss, because it's not good enough to react to this episode, that episode. A lot of us are basically saying, here is the latest scandal. Last week they did this. We go, that's good. We should document it. We should also file legal cases. But we should also understand deep within what is their ecosystem, who funds it, what are the theories that they have developed, how they're infiltrating the minds of our young people, our universities, our education system, our bureaucrats, our politicians, our billionaires. They've infiltrated this kind of thinking of atrocity literature, production has infiltrated our own society. So I want to give you a little breakdown, a little meta-narrative, a little sort of framework how to think about it. So this business of dismantling Hindutva, dismantling Hinduism is almost like a call for genocide, because atrocity literature was a precursor to genocide. It is a very serious statement I'm making. When they profiled certain people as inferior, it is inevitable they invaded them. There were many genocides committed. There was so much persecution done, but it all had to be justified as something good. So if we create atrocity literature about somebody, then we can say, okay, they deserved it. They deserved it. So we did this. Maybe we'll upgrade them, improve their society, civilize them. Now, the theories by which they have profiled us are called critical theory, literary theory. These are the terms. These terms didn't exist decades back. These are new terms. So don't tell me that Hindutva is Hinduphobia is old. The term is old, but what it meant at that time is different from what it means today. Because critical theory, as we know it today, literary theory, which is the drishti through which they see us, did not exist. Our term for the theory to study something and to argue about it is siddhant. We have siddhant. That siddhant is how we argue, how we reason when we have some situation. Mimamsa is a very technical term, how we deconstruct and give answers, rationalize, give our point of view. So what we call siddhanta or what we call mimamsa, the Westerners call critical theory, literary theory. So what does this mean? What is this literary theory that they have developed through which they are seeing us and developing the atrocity literature? That's very important for you to understand. Rather than just complaining about one episode here and there, you should understand when they say literary theory, when they say critical theory, which is at the heart of liberal arts. And our national education policy wants to bring Western liberal arts into India. What a bad idea. If you bring Western liberal arts into the IITs and IIMs and medical colleges, you will create many more JNUs, many more Ashoka universities. Already they are creating a Kriya University near Bangalore, which is being funded by, I am told, some billionaires. This Mahindra and Kiran Majumdar, you have to check this out. But they are basically bringing Western liberal arts, which means they are bringing Western critical theory, their Siddhanta, their Mimamsa to study us. Okay, and this is what we are going to be teaching our next generation. So things are going to get even worse if we allow this kind of thing to happen, and the NEP is encouraging it. This is very sad. So what exactly is this critical theory? I want to tell you. So this, you see, Indology started in the 1800s, in fact 1700s, and it was in Europe to study us. By Germans, they studied it for a certain reason. By British, they studied it for a different reason. Germans were not trying to colonize us, British were. French studied it for a different reason. There was Russian Indology. There were Indology done by different people in different parts of Europe. And then the Americans called it Oriental Studies, and they brought it into Harvard. They also started studying it. But after independence, the whole study of India changed dramatically, and it became South Asian Studies in the United States. So what the left at that time in the United States, while they are not asserting their leftist ideology on American society at that time, now they're becoming more assertive, but at that time, they were exporting Marxism to India. Like the Soviets were exporting Marxism to India at the ground level for political purposes with CPI, CPM. The Americans were exporting it through Ford Foundation for ideological purposes, sending anthropologists, sending social scientists to study India and to tell us about who we are. And that was how atrocity literature was being done. So this Marxism then got replaced by several layers. Post-colonial studies, a gigantic intellectual scholar called Edward Said in Columbia University, he started what became known as post-colonial studies, which means that we criticize the colonizer. Now that sounds very good, and they did a good job of criticizing the colonizer. I learned a lot from people who did post-colonial studies. But soon the game changed. They replaced it with something called subaltern studies. Now what is subaltern studies? Subaltern studies means that there are these people below who don't have a voice, And we the scholars sitting in America need to give them voice. We the scholars sitting in higher places, ivory towers, we will give the voice to the underdogs in India, the subaltern people, as they are called, the people who have no voice, and we'll teach them that they have been oppressed by their own superior people. So what it means in practice is, we will give voice to Dalits, minorities, women, Maoists, all kind of people, make them rebellious against their own country. The Breaking India. So this is the origin of the Breaking India, subaltern studies, which means that you tell one community you have been oppressed for a long time by India. You tell people of one region you've been oppressed by others. South Indian, you've been oppressed by North Indian. Dalits, you've been oppressed by upper caste. All of India is against you. They've been doing bad things to you. Muslims, you've been oppressed by Hindus, etc. So this is subaltern studies. Very dangerous, and this became part of the fabric of Indian higher education. And then it worked its way through NCERT into schools. It worked its way into the courts. It has worked its way into the civil service, IAS people, media, all of them very much into subaltern studies, even if they don't know the terminology, even if they are not very sophisticated in terms of the vocabulary, the results of subaltern studies, many people have adopted. Secularism, against Hindu Dharma is part of that. Then became something else called postmodernism. What is postmodernism? So postmodernism basically says, break up all grand narratives. Break up the grand narrative of India, because the grand narrative of India, who we are, that whole narrative, as it is written in Itihas, as it is written in various Shastras, all that is oppressive. The grand narrative is the problem. So how did they come up with this postmodernism? Well, they came up with theories like Freudian psychoanalysis, which says that when they give you a narrative, don't take it at face value. You should look at the motive. What was Valmiki's motive? Male chauvinism. So this is why Ram is a male chauvinist oppressing Sita. So this kind of a thing. You assume a motive that these people had when they created these narratives. And so when you see a narrative, don't take it as face value. You should look for what is the underlying meaning and hidden meaning. That is kind of, you psychoanalyze him. Freudian psychoanalysis. Another part of postmodernism is feminism. So that feminism is a lens of male oppressing female, and so you go to poor countries, third world countries, and show them that women should be feminized, to revolt against family. Family is bad for you. Family is something that actually oppresses you. So you should liberate yourself from family. So all this postmodernism became very fashionable, and unfortunately large number of people in India have accepted it. Large number of educated class of people have accepted it. This is why the latest trend in this critical theory is called critical race theory. So what started with trying to help black people, Black Lives Matter, was a very important movement for helping black people. But then the critical race theory people, critical literary theory people, these scholars took over, and they came up with this theory saying that just like whites are oppressing blacks, similarly the India's ruling elite are oppressing Dalits. So we should take critical race theory and apply it to India. So now critical race theory exported to India is the latest fashion among Indian leftists. They are very proud to go around talking about how the whole of India is full of caste abuse, because now they can quote critical race theory. They'll get a grant from some American foundation, some British or European foundation. They'll be sent to Harvard. They'll be sent to all these places to give speeches. They'll be brought as witnesses before the US Congress. So this kind of a nonsense has gone on and on. So the issue, the study of this I have been doing for 30 years now. We have to look at where are the institutions where this is being done. The institutions include universities, seminaries, Islamic groups. The recent attack on Hinduism was funded by the American Muslims, Indian Muslim Council of United States, very openly. Seeking donations, demolishing Hinduism as a Muslim group, very openly, very officially. So besides the universities and seminaries where they're training Christian priests and all that, Islamic groups in different parts of the world, various foundations, various think tanks, media in the United States, co-opting the media in India, Indian media very fashionable, trying to do all this. So you will see whether it's News Laundry or Scroll or Print or these kind of places, Wire, they are all into this kind of as a cabal, as a kind of a peer group, helping each other promote these kind of ideas. So we have academics, we have government organizations, we have private think tanks, we have universities, we have media. So these are all the institutions which are reproducing this atrocity literature, which are adopting these lenses, which I've called the Western equivalent of Siddhanta, which is really the critical theory. It's called critical theory, and that is the foundation of liberal arts. So when they say bringing liberal arts, you got to be very careful. You got to say, please give me your critical theory that you're going to bring. You should know that. And you will find it is these kind of critical theories that they will bring. Maybe it is some Westerner, or maybe it is the Indian sepoy that they have trained. Doesn't matter. The Indian sepoy is in fact worse. He's trying to prove his usefulness to the white man. The Indian sepoy, the intellectual sepoy, is trying to prove his usefulness to the white man by doing more obscene, vulgar, aggressive, violent attacks on India more than the Westerners would do. Westerners will nuance. We think that the worst people are the white guys. They are very subtle, very sophisticated. They will play a certain way. They're diplomatic also. They give you indirect messages. But the Indians are crude, rough. They'll do all the dirty work. They are the foot soldiers. So I call them sepoys. Now, this has penetrated politics. It has penetrated US government policymakers. There are petitions before the US Congress. In many states, these things are taking over. So the ability of the West to do this is going beyond just some think tanks and some intellectual places. People, when I used to tell me 30 years ago when I started all this criticism, they said, why are you doing it? What they teach in a university, who cares? Unfortunately, they don't understand the big picture because they never got out of their small chota mota cocoon to see the Kurukshetra. It took 10, 20 years for the RSS to start taking my work seriously, for the BJP to start taking my work seriously, for the Indian government, for the gurus, for all of our intellectuals who are supposed to be defending our dharma, they were not paying attention to this. One guy can only do so much fighting. So I have to tell you, it's very disappointing how slowly people have adopted this knowledge, understood this knowledge, and started taking it seriously. That what starts in a university does not stay in a university. It's spread all over. And it comes to India. It comes to textbooks. It comes to government policies. All of that is the spread of Western literary theory, critical theory, which is like their Siddhanta, their lens, and that studies us and comes up with all kind of nonsensical conclusions about who we are and demolishes the ideas to demolish our grand narrative. Now the question is this: where are we headed? And I have written this book on artificial intelligence and the future of power, where I'm explaining that the Breaking India forces are using new technology, social media technology, algorithms that are empowered, weaponized, to actually break us up even in a more radical way. Now they are entering our minds through the memes, through the messages that are very subtle messages, through social media and various other ways. So I'm calling it Breaking India 2.0. And this Breaking India 2.0 is far worse than the Breaking India I wrote about, 10, 12 years ago in some books. And now the Hindu response is discouraging. The leaders at the top are not out in the front, leading from the front whenever there's a crisis. They're sending junior people to do the fighting. Like we had recently, the global dismantling of Hindutva, a series of conferences, talks with 1,000 academic people joining, a lot of them from India with Hindu names. So our leaders didn't show up. They said junior people, they may have written some little note here or there to show support. Even worse, some gurus said, we should not be involved in fighting these people. We should be involved in solving our own problem. In other words, they are actually claiming we have to solve our problem. We are the cause of this fight. It is our fault. It is not the fault of the people who are aggressively fighting against us. One very prominent guru in Bangalore, if I name him, it creates more issues and fights. But he went on Twitter to say, the problem is not these people who are attacking us. The problem is we got to solve our own caste abuse and all that. Now, let me tell you, of course we have to solve our caste abuse. Of course. But whatever is going on in my family is my private affair. Of course, I have to solve it. But that doesn't mean I should not defend against outsiders attacking me. When outsiders are attacking me, we have to unite, fight back. And we expect the gurus to help us, lead, rather than discouraging us from fighting them. So this is a problem with our own leaders being a bit muddled up and a bit compromised in some ways. The Sangh Parivar, as I said, has amazing individuals. I meet them, junior people, middle people, especially top people, extremely smart, very good human beings on a private level, personal level. But what about as an institution? What about as an institution being a state-of-the-art think tank, or if not being a state-of-the-art think tank, at least encouraging others, giving them facilities, maybe bringing them together, showing some leadership? Because after all, their name starts with the word Rashtra. Rashtra Swayamsevak Sangh. So if it is all about protecting the Rashtra. And so this, what I'm talking about is about the Rashtra. This grand narrative issue, this breaking India problem, this Hindu phobia problem, and this Western Siddhanta coming and taking over our liberal arts all over the place and becoming infiltrated into all the different organs of Indian society is a very, very serious problem. So I want to basically say that we need to create world-class Kshatriyas who understand this global Kurukshetra, not some local issue here and local issue there, who understand the global Kurukshetra, the foreign nexuses, and the Indian sepoys who are being used by them, how these people have gone and infiltrated universities, they've infiltrated guru organizations, they've infiltrated billionaires and industries, industrialists, they've infiltrated government, they've certainly infiltrated media, all the school systems through the NCRT. So, it's like an organ. Rashtra has got all these organs. These institutions are like organs of the Rashtra. These organs have, the cancer has metastatized. It has spread into all these organs. So we better wake up. And I thank J.K. Jhawar for putting this initiative together. Listen to me. This is not a quick fight. Do not have limited stamina, short attention span, either declare victory very quickly or run away. This is a intergenerational war. This is not going to be won in my generation. It is not going to be won quickly in the next generation. This is going to go on because the problems have started over many, many generations, and they will take many generations to to solve these problems. So I urge you who are members of this organization, please take it seriously. Please listen to J.K. Jhawar's leadership. I am there with you. I will do all my best, my entire best to whatever extent I can, and support JKG in his mission. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much. Namaste to all of you. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Hind.
Thanks a lot, Rajiv ji. I'm not sure if he's still there. Okay, I think he's not there for a quick interaction. But what he said, in the last.
I am here. I am here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
that's excellent. Yeah, that's
so we
excellent.
should have a good chat. Okay. Good.
Yeah. I was looking forward to it. But there was some miscommunication where it appeared as if you'd not be here. So
I don't want to miss this. It's a good chance for me to interact with you.
Yeah, thank you. And it was such a good talk, and it's not just a talk. It's an education for us, for me, for everyone. And this is very much important that we understand what the challenges are. Because to be very honest, 3-4 years back itself, not that far away, by the way, just 3-4 years back, even I couldn't understand many of these things. In some aspects, it looked like this is a political problem. Some bits of pieces you look like this and you think that, okay, this is just one problem in one university maybe, but this is a deep rooted problem which actually goes back to a couple of centuries actually. As you rightly said, the entire idea of the colonial study, which even if it gets into Orientalism and all that, it still comes back to hit us back and try to damage us with subaltern studies and these things. So these are very important things. It's really wonderful that you could summarize everything into almost 15-20 minutes, which is almost impossible to do. And I would actually request everyone that they should be investing more and more time. Obviously, your book is there, Breaking India 2, as well as Breaking India 2.0, as you say, on the AI and all. And we need to understand this very smartly. And the SMaRT is the platform where we are talking. I'll have just a few questions, and then we can take some questions from audience as well. First is obviously today is Dashera. I want to wish everyone. And on that note, from you, Rajiv ji, I would want to know if we should feel happy. This is our festival. So while it looks like this is a long drawn fight, this is a very uneven fight, like 200 years of their ecosystem versus what we are just trying to we have just woken up actually, as you have told that we need to wake up, and some of us are waking up. So at some point of time it looks like, where are we going? Is it even a fight where we can survive? It's so uneven. So would you, on the auspicious occasion of Vijayadashmi, also hint at some of the positives, maybe some of the sources from where we should derive this energy, we should derive this, this confidence that while this battle might look completely uneven, it's where we need to be there and we can win.
This is a very good point, Rahul, that you raised. Thank you for a good framing of the whole issue. Vijayadashmi is a very good occasion to remember that we have to fight the good fight. It doesn't just happen. You see, the part of the problem is that our people became very passive. They became introverted. It is good. We have the Adhyatma. I practice, my whole practice is inward for many decades. And so I understand that, and that's the beauty of our tradition. But our tradition was never kind of abandoning the external responsibility. That is the message of Ramayana. You fight the enemy. In fact, Avatar comes to teach an example that you have to fight the enemy. And that's the moral of the whole Mahabharata. You have to fight the enemy. So this is not just we'll give out mithais and distribute good things, and with love we'll win over people, because even the Avatar cannot win over the enemies. Either in Ramayana or Mahabharata has to give them a good physical fight also. So I think the message of the Itihas and the Vijayadashmi is that leaders have to lead from the front. So one of the most important things is, I would like our leaders who are the heads of the senior people in the RSS not leave it to junior people. They have to come in front and be seen on media. They have to go be facing the opponents in panel discussions. They have to be on CNN or wherever the other people are. We have to get in there. You see, the ability for me is limited compared to the ability of an official institutional head, because if I go to CNN, they'll say, okay, you are one man. We can position you as an expert in your own academic opinion. That's okay. We'll do that. But the head of a big institution has got so much clout. They will definitely give you space. But our people are not using that. Neither are the Ministry of External Affairs. They have an Indian Council of Cultural Relations, which is part of MEA. Their job is cultural relations. They're setting up academic chairs. They have one in Rutgers University, by the way. That was set up by the Ministry of External Affairs. But when Rutgers University started doing all this dismantling Hindutva, those people who are occupying the India chair, funded by the Indian government, nowhere to be found. And many of the chairs set up in Harvard by our own billionaires, by Piramal, by Ambani, by Mahindra, those chairs were supporting the other side, attacking us. I'm repeating, academic chairs and centers funded $20 million, $50 million each by Mahindra, by Piramal, by Ambani, and many others at places, the highest Ivy League places, actually using that platform to fight against us, supporting all this attack on Hinduism. So I would say one of the first things we have to do is call this nonsense on happening from our top leaders. We have to say, listen, you guys, you guys have to either support us or don't pretend that you are for us. Because in India, they're all they're all very patriotic, nationalistic, and so on, and they are rewarded and awarded and so forth. But outside India, look what they're doing. So I'm actually saying that if a few leaders could be flipped to our side, if you could, for instance, convince Anand Mahindra to have a discussion with me, maybe you should moderate it, and we can have a discussion where I will bring out what his funded institutions overseas are doing against us. Let him respond. Let him at least become aware of it. Because right now there is a brick wall. It's very difficult to penetrate to the top industrialist who's giving this money, and all his people are spreading poison against us in various places. So so I would say, if you want very high leverage action, of course, at the mass level, everybody should keep doing. We are getting more and more momentum thanks to these kind of initiatives. Your work is very important. I read your work, by the way. Your work is very important. J.K. Jhawar's work is very important. But I think a few leaders at the top could make a very big difference for us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the importance of leadership cannot be, stated enough. And Hindu community, in a way, is facing a leadership crisis. I mean, and we also have a confusion where, perhaps we also have confused between political leadership and the community leadership. And we perhaps we don't know whom to look at and who can really solve this issue. But anyway,
So
as you rightly said,
Rahul,
it's
so Rahul,
yeah,
one thing. Sorry
yeah,
for interrupting, but one thing what you said exactly right. I want to clarify further. Our tradition was that the leader fights from the front.
right.
It is not the leader in the VIP room telling all the junior guys, हाँ जाके लड़ो, बहुत अच्छा काम है, आप लड़ो जाके, and I will be staying out of trouble. I don't want to take controversy. Okay, the leader is in the front elephant. In the war, he
True.
was in the
Always.
elephant right in the front, and that is what our leadership has to do today. They have to be the ones, the face. The face
Right.
of the movement has to be the top leaders. I mean, they are getting
Right.
all the resources they have at their disposal. They're getting so much celebrity status. They are. It's not just ribbon cutting and getting awards. They have to stand up in front. And I'm sorry, our leaders are not doing that.
True, 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 true. That's obviously an angst many people share, and these days, many are very much vocal about it. While we wait that that we can convince our leaders or make them see, this huge challenge. I would like maybe your ideas on a couple of other things that what we as in very in our own limited capacity what we can do. Obviously you have explained in very nice way what small steps we can take. One thing I wanted to ask you, especially because you have spent so much time abroad also in and especially in US, that is there any possibility of having some allies outside India as well, who might not be typically allies, but something like maybe friends with benefits kind of a thing? Can we ever expect, because on the other side, you can see that even a white supremacist and an Islamist are almost like a strategic allies against Hindutva or against Hinduism. So if they can ally, all when they have nothing in common and they are at loggerheads with each other, can we also hope, or are there some groups or people or entities you think that can be our strategic ally abroad? I'm talking about abroad, not within India.
Perfect question. In fact, if you see on my YouTube channel, Official, the most recent video last week, Peter Boghossian, he's a professor. He left because he had a big fight with the ultra left in the American Academy. So we connected, and I'm explaining to him how the ultra left is damaging India, the breaking India, and I'm explaining to him that there is also a breaking America going on. There is a breaking America going on by the same people, and you should watch that video. It's about an hour long. You should watch that video, and then he's communicating with me afterwards to try and connect me with all of his people. So that's the kind of alliances we are building. I'm building that kind of alliance where I'm finding that there are a lot of Americans who are also sick and tired of the same thing. Right. You see, what happened is this breaking India was incubated and exported to India through various Indology and these kind of studies and Siddhanta and theories and all that. And now what has happened is that some of these breaking India type of ideologies are also working in breaking America. They are realizing that. And France is realizing what's happened to their society as a result of left-wing studies. Russia is very concerned about it.
Right.
Britain is very concerned about it. So, some of the leaders in these major countries are realizing that this ultra left movement all over the world is a big nuisance to them. And so we have to find allies like that. And I'm developing such allies. In fact, in my next book, I'm going to write about it. My next book is exactly this sort of thing on who are the strategic allies, because I've created friendships for intellectual purposes. I'm educating them that India is actually a good case study on what is going to happen in America also. And
True.
they're realizing that, my God, this can happen in USA, because we are facing this similar, what started as a Black Lives Matter became kind of woke movement, wokeism. Now it is critical race theory. Now, if you look at where the extreme left of the Democratic Party want, there is a nice Democratic Party, centrist also. But what the extreme left want is sort of like our Maoists, our ultra leftist. So the Americans are also realizing, and therefore there is opportunity for us to find such Americans, sit down and educate them about all of these things. The talk I just gave today for SMaRT, I have discussed this kind of talk privately with a lot of American groups who understand and resonate with us and want to work with us. One such group are, for example, the Jewish community, because the Jewish community also feel that on American campuses, they're facing the same thing. Yesterday, I had a conference call, and November 1st, we are going to launch a webinar where two of us Hindus and two of the Jews are going to talk about what's happening on American campuses and compare notes on the experience of the Jews who are being attacked and the Hindus who are being attacked. So you're absolutely right. We have to find such allies and learn to collaborate with them, even if there are areas we disagree, but there are areas which are common, and we must learn how to be strategic and not just say that everything about this fellow is bad. We have to say what is useful, where we can have a common ground, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now.
Yeah, excellent. I'll obviously look forward to that, and that's something I have been wondering a lot. And I don't have much of an exposure to U.S. politics or foreign politics as you do. Back in India, I think taking a leaf from there, I think our approach could also be similar. I see that many people, for example, these days on our side are trying an alliance with Pasmanda Muslims, for example. Those who talk about casteism within Islam. I would like your views on that. Do you think in the grand narrative that's helpful? Because there are also few people who think that that's not our problem. I mean, why are we bothered about reforming something within Islam? Or why are we bothered about talking about a Pasmanda Muslim? But do you think that in domestic circles, those kind of alliance also we should not be ignoring?
Absolutely. See, I use the term Swadeshi Muslim in order to attract such Muslims. And I've started talking to some people privately. They're very, very much along the lines what you're talking about. Some of them are coming out slowly, but they're still scared. But it will happen. Eventually, these guys will come out more and more openly if we encourage them, give them some resources, help them out. Now, you see the Islam, one of the things I talk about a lot when I'm asked about the caste system, I talk about the Islamic caste system. You have the Ashraf, the Ajlaf, and the Azlaf. The Ashraf are the foreign guys who came. They're supposed to be upper caste. And even among the Ashraf, there is further stratification. The Saids are the direct descendants of the Prophet. The Sheikhs are the purebred, royalties of high class people of Arabia. And then the Turks and Pashtuns. These are the four subcategories of Ashraf, and they are the upper caste. And so the Ashraf are the ones, the Indians who got converted. They are the brown skin, while those other guys are fairer, complex, and all that. And they are supposed to be superior because they are the invading armies. So this caste system, the Islamic caste system, is a very living example of how caste system is shaped by foreign invasions. Because the Islamic community's caste system is shaped by foreign invasions. And the Urduization of Indian Muslims is something recent being done in order to Ashrafize yourself. So if you're from Kerala and you start, instead of speaking your native language like Muslims did all along, now you start learning Urdu or you are Bengali. And the whole Bangladesh was created because they did not want Urdu to be imposed on them. They did not want the West Pakistanis to dominate their culture. They were very proud of being Bengali. But now there is an Urduization of Bangladesh also going on. So
True,
this Urduization is actually Ashrafization. It is
true,
a way
true.
to go up the caste ladder, because one of the markers of high caste is how they speak, what kind of demeanor they have,
True.
what kind of symbolism they have. So I think this study of the Islamic caste system as an example is a very good, very important thing for us to study and be able to go to any international forum where they're talking about caste system and talk back that, yes, we have abuse of caste in Hindu society, we have abuse of caste in American society, we have abuse of caste in Islamic society. So it is not a Hindu problem per se, it's a problem of
Right.
asymmetries and cultures. And some of the reasons are because of invasions. Some of the society gets dismantled, they lose a certain profession, and so they become the underclass. So you have to look at the dynamics, the historical dynamics of different jatis over time.
True.
And the experience of Muslims today is a very important case study. We should also encourage and collaborate with women in Islam. I find that the women in Islam are so interested, some of the very learned, educated ones. You don't try to de-Islamize them. Just say that within Islam, you need to fight as women for equal rights and so on. Women need help. I think that's 50% of their population. If the women, more and more women get educated and start standing up and demasculinizing this Islamic society, which is very hyper masculine, that is their problem. Too much male, these hormones, too much of this the testosterone kind of weaponized for jihad. If you can use the Islam's own women, educated ones especially, to and empower them, you can then break up this whole power of Islamic terror from within. We need to collaborate with such people. I also collaborate with some Christians using certain metaphysics that they've appropriated certain metaphysics from Hinduism. They've got this idea of non-dual Christianity. There is a whole movement called Christian Vedanta. They're movement like that. So I go and, on the one hand, I want to convince them where it came from, so they acknowledge it, and I am able to do that. Then I tell them that this is a bridge. Now, if you got so much from us, maybe you can get even more, and maybe you got to start converting us. Stop converting us and start learning from us, because you are already learning. So I'm also writing on this whole several volumes. I'm writing on how to negotiate, develop tactical alliances with people who are overall opponent to us, but they have a certain subset within them, which is for us. And we have to pick out that subset of people, whether it is Muslims, whether it is some leftist people also, whether it is Christians, and be able to collaborate and build a coalition that will help us out.
Right. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, I would not be too off the mark if I were to say that Rajiv Malhotra ji uses, the vocabulary of our enemy or their framework, somewhat similar looking framework, and flips to themselves, whether it's about post-colonialism, then you talk about decolonizing your mind. If they are talking about caste, then you would say, the caste is there, but it's also there in these communities, and it's because of the foreign invasions. So if I'm right in a way finding that pattern, then can you also suggest something about what you talked earlier about this liberal arts thing? Because we really, I don't think we can completely start speaking against liberal arts, because it's not something very easily digestible by a common person. And why should I not study literature? Why should I not study music? And if they are being taught in IT and IIMs, then what's wrong? So how to convince them, using the same kind of pro-liberal arts vocabulary, but not fall in trap of atrocity literature or subaltern literature, as you have said. Is there a way out over there, that we use the same vocabulary, but we don't allow that?
Yes, I think you're very perceptive. One of the methodologies I use, which is Purva Paksha of the other side, I really honestly try to put myself in their shoes and understand why they are doing, where is their framework, what is the root cause of their thinking. and then I find ways that I can actually, there's a hypocrisy because there's a double standard. If I turn it around and look at them in their own lens, they don't have an answer because nobody spoke to them like that. Nobody took them on and said, okay, I accept this theory, now let's apply it to you. And they are not used to, because first of all, you have to be very well informed, very well educated about all their work, and then you can play this game. And I love to play this game. So that is absolutely a correct observation. Now, in terms of applying this to liberal arts, absolutely, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking at the history of liberal arts, the history of what is the roots from which we get the fruits. If there is the root system itself has been distorted on how you do Siddhanta, what you study and all that. And once we understand the roots that have been distorted, from which all these fruits are coming, all these accusations, allegations, and hatred towards us is coming because of some basic theories that they have. Then once you understand all that, which is what I'm going to explain in my next book, then we can also show, if you don't distort, if you do not make this distortion in your theoretical lens, then things can be looking very differently. So we have a Nalanda liberal arts. Nalanda was one of the earliest universities teaching what would be the Bharatiya liberal arts. We had the 64 Kalas. We had the 64 Kalas where they were teaching all kind of arts, sciences, mathematics, all of that, and how it all works together. So liberal arts that should be done in the NEP should be our liberal arts, not bringing American professors or Indians who've been trained there. So I'm not against liberal arts. I'm against the Americanization of liberal arts. That is a very serious matter to me. I think this Kriya University, KREA University in the South is heading towards becoming Ashoka-like. Ashoka University in near Delhi is a terrible center for this new liberal arts. And our very wealthy people have funded all this because it's very fashionable. No one has gone and really educated them. And when you try to educate them, they get very defensive because it's become very prestigious to stick together with all like-minded rich people giving millions of dollars, and they're on this board, and it looks very global. That you can go to USA and be seen as a white man, almost like an honorary white person, because you are promoting this kind of thinking, liberal thinking. So liberal thinking is sort of become a prestige thing for people who got a lot of money. Now the next thing is to sit at the table with white people and be on the same board and have this photo op, and you send it back, and all the Indians will say, wow, our beta also became like one of those Gorawalas. So it is this inferiority complex. It is a deep inferiority complex, not understanding that our own tradition has deep roots on how to study society. Liberal arts is about studying society, right? Studying society, studying different institutions. This is what liberal arts is. And we do not have to apologize. We do not have to borrow all this from other people. We just have to do our own liberal arts in our own way, So this is a very important point that you've raised, the Indianization of liberal arts.
True. That's
the decolonization of liberal arts.
True. Hopefully, in that direction, steps would be taken. There is so much to talk to, and there are many questions I have got from audience as well. But at the same time, I have also got messages from the organizers that we are, kind of running out of time. So unfortunately, we'll have to wrap up over here. I'll thank you, and my appeal to obviously everyone would be that this is a very important thing that we all need to understand in our own little way. We need to let people be aware of these challenges, and Rajiv ji is there to guide us, and obviously our gods are there to guide us. Thank you.
Rahul, you've done a great job. Thank you so much for all the work you are doing. And my final thanks also to JK ji for the great work he's doing. And with that, Vijay Dashmi ji is a great festival, our great occasion. This is the occasion where the Vijay is over the bad guys. This is victory over the bad guys. So we should not be afraid of hard power. By the way, final point I'm making is that too much soft power dependency should not be at the expense of hard power. I have a lot of people saying, okay, but we will teach them yoga or something and they'll be fine. Aise nahi hoga. Bhagwan Ram could not convert Ravan, and Shri Krishna could not change the mind of Duryodhan. You and I are not going to change the minds of all these nasty people. There has to be hard power. We have to fight the way, whatever the fight requires, we have to do. We have to pay the price. We have to stick our neck out, sacrifice in order for the higher good, for the good of our dharma. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Lot of knowledge, lot of information, but so little time. But the message, what you have conveyed is very powerful. Rajiv ji has rightly stated that when outsiders attack us, we must defend, and our gurus must guide us in the process. So your points on Urduization, caste system in Islam has been an eye opener for all of us. And also we must collaborate and sensitize women.
Broadcasting system and its affiliated stations.
What you staring at? Is it really me? Feeling like a star. Am I taking it too far? Taking it too far while I'm feeling like a star. Feeling like a star.
Always a star with stylish backpacks from Skybags. Built to last straps. 12 months international warranty and rain cover. Skybags.
Come and say.
I'm changing my mind.
Change to Tokyo.
Kinda like your kind.
Paris.
You have me at hey, 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 hey.
Hey. Hi.
Be back in May.
Cape Town.
You have me at hey, 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 hey.
Your passport, please.
उसे छोड़ो. तुम कहाँ से हो? Chase the world with stylish bags from Skybags.
मेरी बुक्स कहाँ हैं?
अरे मैंने सब लेबल किया हुआ है, वहाँ पे हैं. कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. बढ़िया चॉइस है यार तुम्हारी.
काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग है. लारा बाय बोरोसिल.